All-Star weekend, and we have a whole bunch to discuss here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. Nick Fairbanks of Panther Parkway will be joining me next on the show.
Your Locked On Panthers, your daily podcast on the Florida Panthers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And welcome into this Friday, February 4th edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I'm Armando from PantherParkway.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at MondoMan12. Follow the show account on Twitter at LO_FLA Panthers. You can also follow the national show Locked On NHL and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark, will be covering all the regular season activities around the National Hockey League. And thankful to be bringing in probably the guy who's been on the show the most times of anyone in this era of Locked On Panthers, Nick Fairbanks of Panther Parkway. Nick, how are you, man?
Doing well. I like what you've done with the place. That intro was snazzy. I'm actually pretty impressed with that.
Yeah. I don't have anything to do with creating it. That's all, the whole network creating it behind the scenes. I just click the buttons and all that. So it's pretty cool development of now going on YouTube, doing video and all that stuff. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I've gotten a little used to it. Now the fans get to see my face. They get to see yours as well because they've heard your voice quite a few times here on the show. So now we get to put voice to face on multiple people. But first, I want to talk about something that go all the way back to May of 2021 when the Florida Panthers did get eliminated by the Tampa Bay Lightning. But before we do, now Anton Lundell is starting to get more conversation league-wide on the Calder race. A lot of it, of course, had to do with his 5-point night against the Columbus Blue Jackets, which when you look at it statistically, it really was up there with the Trevor Zegrases of the world, the Lucas Raymonds. But before we get your take, we're going to play a video, an audio of what you said about Anton Lundell last May. So here's that video.
I think with Barkov and Bennett being our number one and number two centers, I think that we're deeper than what we were coming into the season. Alex Wennberg definitely did his best to cover that position, but I think he solidified himself as a good third line center on this team. And then looking into next season, the person that I am really looking forward to coming in and making an impact, Mr. Lundell. You can come on down, sir.
And
I'm signaling to you 3C.
So Nick, that was almost a year ago when that happened, when you manifested Anton Lundell making an impact on this team and playing a bottom six role and getting the point production that he is, being the top unit on the penalty kill. How are you processing not only what you said almost 9 months ago, but now seeing that performance on the ice?
Well, number one, he's doing all the work, so hats off to him. He's definitely a star. It's really confusing to me why he dropped all the way to 12th, but it's luck that the Panthers needed and they got it. But he's a complete player. He's definitely somebody that obviously when Q was around coaching, trusted him right off the bat and put him on the PK right away. So the trust within the organization was there. And then just to see him grow into that role, being that third line center, and actually leading that line. I think it was the third game of the season where it was him, Marchman, and Reinhardt that got put together, and you saw how the chemistry just came together. And that's kind of what manifested itself in the 5-point game the other night too. So if you were to ask me, the race between the Calder right now is Seider, Zegras, and Lundell. No particular order in that, but those are going to be the three I'm going to be looking forward to the end of the season to see who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, and Moritz Seider, he's year one. He's kind of like their Aaron Ekblad of like what he's doing there for the Detroit Red Wings, and Trevor Zegras, I mean, World Juniors hero, has those highlight reels of the Michigan, and now that move is like heard so much across the world that even Jonathan Huberdeau did the fake Michigan creating the goal now. So, and Trevor Zegras is going to be part of All-Star Weekend as well. So I don't watch the Ducks every day, but I hope I'm very excited to definitely see Trevor Zegras in the All-Star game. But we played 47 games now for the Florida Panthers, and now the rookie sensation of Anton Lundell has, if my math is correct, 34 games to try to make an impact on the Calder race. But one reason why I think he might not win it is because of him not being in a top 6 role, and the fact that Trevor Zegras is, and Lucas Raymond is also being in a top 6 role. And I believe Moritz Seider's on the top pairing defenseman for Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely being in the top units definitely helped their cases. What do you think?
I think you're correct on all accounts. I think it makes it easier for exposure when you're playing top minutes and that you're playing, on the top pairings. Seider is a freak. The guy is just built like a tank. He can hit anybody, can fight anybody right now. And, he mans their power play. So I don't think you can ask more of a top defender right now. Where Zegras comes in, as you said, he's a World Juniors hero. He's putting on these moves that, the old school of hockey don't like right now. But you know what? It's bringing attention to the game. So hats off to him. Where I think Lundell is probably going to fall short, and I kind of alluded to this in my tweet earlier today, was that, he's kind of made his name known now. People know about him, but it took them 47 games to figure out who he was. It took that 5-point game against Columbus to kind of say, oh, this guy's actually good. He can play. Whether that's, him being on the third line or just doing penalty killing minutes, not the sexy play. I think that might be a drawback, but also, maybe people should start tuning into Florida Panther games, outside of us, we want 10. We have some pretty special stars and a pretty special group down here in South Florida that are pretty exciting to watch. So I would definitely tune in.
And I was looking at that screenshot that you posted just earlier, that same tweet that you were talking about, and just to think about some of the ranks where Anton Lundell stands based on rookies, and shorthanded time on ice, two averaging 2 minutes and 44 seconds a game, number one in the NHL of all NHL rookies. Even strength points, 27, number one in the league. Face-offs taken, first in the league. Takeaways, first in the league among rookies. So that is just incredible what Anton Lundell is doing, and definitely he deserves some recognition. And like we talked about, 30 some odd games to prove it. But hey, if he doesn't win it and you were to ask him, I believe that he'll say that the number one priority right now is winning, and he doesn't seem like the type of person who would be very selfish and talking about like individual accolades.
Definitely not. One of the things that I like about his game is he's responsible in all zones, every single zone. You don't see him out of place. And I'm going to refer to a tweet by Jay Fresh, who put up a stat saying, or his stats or his analytics saying that he's terrible on the penalty kill. I'm going to call him out. I don't think he's watched too much of Panthers hockey, watching Lundell on the PK. So, yeah, I mean, he does definitely deserve all the accolades he gets. He's a complete 200-foot player. Not many players his age can say that, which is why I think he's actually a better overall player, or should, be runner-up to Seider for the Calder. But at the same time, hey, if this is, just the beginning, could you imagine what he could be in the next couple of years and what Barkov was his first season? This is amazing. This is exactly what Florida needs going into the future.
And the best part is it's in a bottom 6 role that he's doing it in. So I couldn't be more thankful. I'm sure you couldn't be more thankful. But we're going to transition over from talking Anton Lundell, and we are going to talk more about the upcoming All-Star weekend for the NHL. But first, we're going to tell you all about Built Bar. And it's the new year, so that means New Year's resolution. If yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good you'll want to eat it. Unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky or waxy or taste like a chemical spill, you'll want to eat healthy, but it just gets so boring. By like week 3, you might be thinking, this is just not worth it. Where's the chocolate? Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and 4 grams of protein. Compare that candy bar, which usually is around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Here's an idea for the new year. Go all to your secret stashes at home, in the pantry, in the office, in your car, wherever. Throw out all the sugary and calorie-filled treats and replace them with Built Bars. So when you're craving a snack or treat, you can reach for something that's healthy and tastes incredible. Even if you're not a huge fan of working out, you can at least eat something that tastes good and is good for you. And that way you enjoy a delicious Built Bar. You can almost count it as a workout. And there's so many flavors to choose from. Coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, mint brownie, and many more. In fact, Built is always coming out with a new limited time flavors. So check Built.com often to see what's new. Go to Built.com and use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your next order. Use promo code LOCK15 over at Built.com. And we're back here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast on this Friday, February 4th, 2021. I'm Armando Velez. I got Nick Fairbanks of PantherParkway.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at Prudentia0. So, Nick, I know this is going to sound like a basic statement for myself and many NHL fans, but it's just really any all-star game in any sport. It's really kind of really hard to look forward to just as years go by. How about you?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm glad Jonathan Huberdeau is there representing the team. I mean, what a magnificent first start to the season he's had, leading the NHL in points and everything. He deserves it the most. But it's kind of selfish for me to say that I'm very happy that he's the only one going. I'd rather the rest of the team get some rest because we saw what happened when they went on that small little COVID lockdown and then came out of the gates blazing. I've never seen a January like that. I don't think any other team in history of the NHL scored that many goals in the month of January. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. It's the most goals in the last 25 seasons in a month with 74 that this team has scored. Just incredible. I mean, they had that dud in New York. I mean, it's a second end of a back-to-back, a road game. It's a very tough place to play in Madison Square Garden against a Vezina Trophy finalist right now for in the NHL in Igor Shesterkin. So kind of left that last game on a little bit of a somewhat sour note. But hey, the Florida Panthers, they definitely have a big challenge ahead of them on their first nationally televised game. Real nationally televised game outside of ESPN Plus when they take on Carolina on TNT on February 16th. But let's get into the All-Star game and the All-Star Skills Challenge mostly on Friday night. So we're gonna go first to the participants. We'll make a little bit of predictions here in there. So the Verizon fastest skaters, the participants are Chris Kreider, Adrian Kemp of the LA Kings, Kyle Connor of the Winnipeg Jets, Evgeny Kuznetsov of the Washington Capitals, Jordan Kyrou of the St. Louis Blues, Dylan Larkin of the Detroit Red Wings, Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche, and Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. So who do you think, let's have a little fun here. Who do you think will be win the fastest skater for All-Star weekend?
That's a loaded list. If I were to choose one, I mean, everybody's going to say McDavid, but I'm going to go, I'm going to say Dylan Larkin.
Mm-hmm. Dylan Larkin has the second best fastest skater of any of the ever since this has been a thing. We're gonna look at this post right now from BR_open_ice on Instagram. So the record is Jonathan Drouin when he was with the Tampa Bay Lightning at 13.1 seconds. Matt Barzal was up there for 2020s when it was in St. Louis. I'm gonna go Dylan Larkin on this one because he's been there before, and I think that he's definitely I think that he's been through the experience of doing this, so that's gonna be my prediction for that. The next one, the Duncan NHL save streak. So pretty much self-explanatory. The participants are Jack Campbell of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Freddie Anderson of the Carolina Hurricanes, Tristan Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Cam Talbot of the Minnesota Wild, UC Saros of Nashville, Thatcher Demko of the Vancouver Canucks, and John Gibson of the Anaheim Ducks. So, who do you think is the winner of the save streak?
Well, you've got quite the lineup there as well. They're making it hard. I'm honestly going to say with the way that he's played this season, and he's basically that team has come out of nowhere with their results. I'm going with Gibson. Guy's a machine. I honestly think that he's going to come out on top on this one.
Part of me wanted to go Saros in this one. And I do like your pick with Gibson having his team having such a resurging season. He's looking to be the John Gibson of old. But I think I'm going to go with Jack Campbell on this one. He's definitely leading that Toronto Maple Leafs team to a great record. And still, Toronto, they still have many games to make up, and Jack Campbell can still very well possibly lead them to winning the division. And the Florida Panthers, it's still crazy to see that they haven't faced the Toronto Maple Leafs yet. And I'm just craving to see what the Florida Panthers look like against that specific team, another division rival. So I'm just like waiting to see what they look like against Jack Campbell in Toronto.
Imagine, they play them 3 or 4 times in the next couple months, and then what if there's a first round matchup? The hatred and the blood will be flowing, my friend.
And the storyline. Don't forget the storyline of
Yes.
2 teams who haven't won a playoff series since the 04-05 lockout. So that'll be a big storyline, and all the pressure will be on Toronto, and
yes,
the storyline will be on Toronto. If the Florida Panthers win, it won't be the Florida Panthers winning. It'll be the national media will talk about how did Toronto lose. Let's be honest with ourselves.
It will, but unfortunately, that's what they're going to do up north. But I think we down here will know the better team probably won the series and won decisively. It won't be 7 games.
Yeah. So don't want to worry about that too much right now. But all right. This one is something that you and I spoke about before hitting the record button, and it's the Discover NHL Fountain Faceoff. And this has been talked about all over the NHL about what they're doing with the Fountain Faceoff. And let me describe it a little bit. Competition takes place at the iconic Bellagio fountains. Players will travel by boat to the rink and are required to successfully shoot pucks into 5 targets in the least amount of time. Qualifying players move to the head-to-head final. Fountains spray and breeze off the strip and will add to the challenge of this unprecedented NHL All-Star Skills event. And one thing that I spoke to you before we hit the record button is I had never seen what the Bellagio fountains look like, and I maybe have seen it in pictures. And I told you that I wanted to surprise myself and see what the Bellagio fountains actually look like, to see what they're actually talking about. So I'm seeing this for the first time of what the Bellagio fountains actually are. So here we are. Here we are. Full screen it. All right. Have you seen this? Have you seen this before? Now it's starting to look familiar. I've seen this in like advertisements and Visit Las Vegas.
I have a
So
lot of coworkers who've won awards or prizes, and one of the prizes is going to Las Vegas, and they all take a picture in front of the fountain. So yes, I am very familiar.
that is so beautiful. I'm really that is actually a pretty cool. That's actually a pretty cool thing. I'm actually very excited to see like how it turns out. It sounds very Vegas
So
from what
so here's my question: are they actually going to be on, that, or are they actually going to be on, at T-Mobile Arena on the ice, and they're just going to like do a projection like they do for their pregame? That's my question.
it the description that I read, it says rink in quotes. So it's not really a real hockey rink from what the description says, but that's something that I'm really it's really hard to hear like really the description and see it in action. I want to see how it's like in action. So
This might be a good one.
let's talk about the participants in this one. Our very own Jonathan Huberdeau is participating in this one. Claude Giroux of the Philadelphia Flyers, Jordan Eberle of the Seattle Kraken, Jocelyn Lemuro Davidson, Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators, Nick Suzuki of the Montreal Canadiens, Zach Werenski of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Mark Stone of the Vegas Golden Knights. So who wins this one? Are you going Homer on this one, or are you going someone else?
I really want to go Homer because I have a feeling I know exactly what this setup is going to be now, like the targets and everything. And Hubie can definitely throw it on somebody's tape if you've seen some of the passes he's had this season. But I'm going to go with Mark Stone on this one.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give it to Roman Josi, a Norris Trophy winner, and the year after they make it to the Stanley Cup final, and that. I mean, what a team does on the ice and in the middle of gameplay doesn't exactly correlate to what these skill competitions do. I mean,
Correct.
Not all of these players really care about the All-Star weekend, so I don't know how much effort each person is gonna show. But as far as all of them are just crisp passers. I mean, we see Huberdeau do it every single night, but I'm gonna go with Roman Josi on this one to win this competition.
That's a solid pick.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good. He's really good. We're gonna continue more of this conversation on All-Star Weekend, but first we're going to talk to you about BetOnline. And BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march to the playoffs, right to the big game in a couple of weeks. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just football. BetOnline has up-to-the-minute info in pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live, real-time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the new offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline, where the game starts. Continuing this discussion on All-Star Weekend, talking about the skills competition. And this one is, I would say maybe it's my favorite one because we get to really see kind of the strength of these players. EA Sports NHL's hardest shot. And here are the participants for hardest shot.
Classic.
Adam Pelech of the New York Islanders, Timo Meier of the San Jose Sharks, Victor Hedman of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Tom Wilson of the Washington Capitals. And here is I really kind of wish they brought in I kind of wish they kind of brought in Zdeno Chara after the records that he's set for All-Star Weekend. And take a look at this. The record. Zdeno Chara carries those records for the hardest shot. So who do you think is going to win this one?
As much as I have disdain for this man, only because he's a Tampa Bay Lightning, I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Hedman on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he has record of the hardest shot to the NHL at this point this season. So I'm gonna go with Victor Hedman. And actually, I'm gonna show I'm going to show that graphic again. Take a look at who's in the background of this one. Who do you see in the background of
Is that Brian Campbell?
Yep, it's Soup.
Love me some Soupy.
Yeah, it's one of the first memories I've had of watching the Florida Panthers, and that was Brian Campbell's first season on the Florida Panthers. Won the Lady Byng Award that year in 2012. So definitely it won a favor of mine as I started watching the Florida Panthers from the early 2010s. All right, last a few more we have. The Adidas NHL Breakaway Challenge, and the goalies are Manon Rome. I'm pronouncing this incorrectly. Reume and Wyatt Russell. So the participants are Kirill Kaprizov, Trevor Zegras, Jack Hughes, Alex DeBrincat, and Alex Pietrangelo.
Oh my God.
This is tough. Who do you think wins this one?
Well, out of the skaters, I got to go Trevor Zegras. But I think one thing I want to say before you say, your pick is that Manon Reume, I don't know if you know this, but she is the only woman to be able to play in the men's a men's professional hockey game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. She is actually over on the Detroit Red Wings cast right now, and she was talking about it. She's very excited, and I'm actually quite interested to see how she's going to take on Trevor Zegras and his Michigan.
Watch, he tries to pull it. I mean, if Trevor Zegras pulls the Michigan on that, and I think about kids who are watching this sport and who are going to attract themselves to the NHL. And I kind of wish the NHL kind of promoted their stars more individually, like what the NBA does. If you get Trevor Zegras doing the Michigan and you put him more on commercials and you see him do something related to the Michigan, such a win for the NHL.
100%.
But my winner, I think it's going to be Kirill Kaprizov in this one, and just what he was able to do last year, and then just how fast of a skater he is on those breakaways. I gotta go with Kirill Kaprizov on this one. All right,
solid pick as well.
This one's a unique challenge, and this was related to something very Vegas, a game of blackjack. It's Las Vegas NHL 21 in 2022. The NHL is shutting down parts of Las Vegas Boulevard to hang a full deck of oversized cards on a rack and puts a new twist on street hockey. 21 and 22 in a game of chance, strategy, and skill. The object of the game is to achieve a hand of 21 without going bust in at least number of shots. The player who wins 2 rounds is crowned Puck Shark. And the participants are Nazem Kadri of the Colorado Avalanche, Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Joe Pavelski of the Dallas Stars, and Steven Stamkos of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Brady Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators. This actually sounds pretty unique. Of course, this is probably the one and only year they're going to do it. But who do you have winning this one?
I'm gonna have to go Austin Matthews all the way on this one. I was thinking about Stamkos, but I just think that Matthews has probably a better, more accurate release right now.
I'm gonna go with a former Maple Leaf and Nazem Kadri, who's just having a career season and maybe gets to like challenge his former teammate on that. So the season that Nazem Kadri is having, I gotta maybe someone who we don't expect to win it. All right, last competition is the Honda NHL Accuracy Shooting Challenge, and the 4 passers, including Jocelyn Lemuel Davidson, and the participants are Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers, Clayton Keller of the Arizona Coyotes, Rasmus Dahlin of the Buffalo Sabres, Sebastian Aho of the Carolina Hurricanes, Jake Gensel of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Troy Terry of the Anaheim Ducks, Johnny Gaudreau of the Calgary Flames, Patrice Bergeron, captain of the Boston Bruins, and former Panther, now Vegas Golden Knight, Jonathan Marchessault. All right, who wins this one?
Oh man, I don't know. I like this guy's game so much that it's gonna be hard to say. I'm gonna go with Bergeron on this one.
Oh, I kind of had a feeling that you were going there just by the first statement. Yeah,
Mhm.
it kind of pains for it to pick a division rival. But I'm gonna go with a guy who's in the race for the Rocket Richard, along with Chris Kreider as well in Leon Draisaitl, and just the accuracy that he get. I don't know what his shooting percentage is without looking it up, so I'm not gonna try to guess. But just the way he can just score, I just think it was okay. He can hit the net, so put him as the winner of the skills competition in that one, accuracy shooting. So before we get out of here, I want to ask you what you think of Andrew Brunette getting this opportunity to coach the Atlantic Division All-Stars. Of course, it goes to the coach that leads the division at a certain point of the season, and Andrew Brunette getting his opportunity, even though the game doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but even though he's never made an all-star team, the opportunity for him on this big of a stage after the difficult situation that he's been through. What do you think of this for Andrew Brunette?
I think it's a testament to the job that he's done, to the way that he's been able to handle the team through adversity. I don't think anybody's really prepared to uh, take over the team like that or even handle a situation like that. I mean, unfortunately, we're still seeing things unfold in Chicago now. A lot of people thought, things were going to be settled and stuff, but that's probably a topic for another day. But we hopefully get more closure on kind of what's going on in that situation. But the way that he's handled it, not rocked the boat, he's gained the buy-in from the players, the trust, and you know, he deserves it. He deserves all the accolades and everything that this team has done. How many times has this organization gone through a coaching change and either they've sunk because of it, and they haven't played well, or they've had a little burst of success and then right back to mediocre play. The fact that he's kept it up this long and the team has bought into him, true testament to what he's been able to bring behind the bench. So well deserved. I hope he has fun this weekend. Not too much because I want him to get some rest too because he's probably had a lot of stress on his on his plate over the last couple of months. But very happy for him. And again, just hope he enjoys it and soaks every moment in.
And you talked about the Florida Panthers letting go of coaches like it's nothing. And I think about all the times that the Panthers have let go of coaches after even playoff runs. Doug McLean, just 1 year after they make the Stanley Cup final, he gets fired in the middle of November of the 97 season, I believe. And Kevin Dineen, who's now the head coach of the Utica Comets, I believe he gets let go one year after the Panthers make the postseason in 2012. Gerard Gallant is another example of a coach let go just like 2 months into the 2017 season. So it's weird, like the coaching, what it's been with the coaching. And if Andrew Brunette wins a playoff series, I'm saying this now, if he wins a playoff series, that interim tag is coming off.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk right now. I mean, I'm not going to speak for the organization at all because I honestly don't know. But there's been talk, even on ESPN and everything, that maybe they should remove it now. But I agree that they haven't yet, just because, again, that would be another thing to rock the boat. Things are good right now. They are very good. The organization's never been in this way. I mean, you could argue that they were like this in '96, but this is a different team. We are the juggernaut now in this league. So to do anything to kind of take them off that path right now, I think would be detrimental. I mean, you could say the letting go of Q was one of that, but at the same time, like, how many more pieces are you going to move to, I guess, like, solidify what you have? Bill Zito's already done a magnificent job, and he's got a tough job ahead of him for the rest of the season and into the playoffs. But let's let things play out. I think that he's earned himself a good shot at actually getting the interim tag taken off. But let's see what the future holds for him, and I'm rooting for him.
Same here, my friend, and I'm definitely hoping that, but it'll be once the season is over before that's decided, because like you said, it'll be a definite distraction for the team, and just let's see how it plays out. And I'm rooting for him, and I believe in what he's been able to put out. And once again, for the listeners, read George Richards' article on Florida Hockey Now to discuss more about, where he discussed and put in detail more of the situation that Andrew Brunette found himself in after everything that happened. But Nick, thank you once again for joining the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. So people on the YouTube can see where they can follow you, but tell people on the podcast where they could follow you online.
You guys can always follow me at Prudentia0 on Twitter, and also PantherParkway.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining the show, man. And you're invited anytime.
No, appreciate the invite as always, and hope to catch up with you again soon.
Absolutely. And if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast to be notified every single time the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast jumps into your podcast feed. Make sure to subscribe to Locked On NHL and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark will be covering all the regular season activities around the National Hockey League. Thank you once again for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. And for your second listen of the day, make sure to listen to today's episode of Locked On Bets, your one-stop shop for all things gambling. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms, so subscribe to Locked On Bets podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts. So I'm Armando Velez with Nick Fairbanks, and you've been listening to the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day.